What zoo did you animals escape from? Captain Danny Brooks surveys the black wedding guests like he's looking at a crime scene. 8 officers spread out, hands on weapons. Officer, this is a private wedding. Shut your mouth, boy. Brooks slams his palm against the groom's chest, sending him stumbling backward. You think putting on a monkey suit makes you people? He grabs an elderly man by the collar, slamming him against marble. Face the wall, Grandpa. Probably got warrants anyway. Brooks circles the terrified guests. Which one of you is dealing? Don't lie. I can smell the ghetto on all of you. The bride starts crying. Children hide behind their parents. 40,000 viewers watch pure hatred disguised as law enforcement. The groom's shaking hand reaches for his wallet. Inside waits a business card that will destroy everything these officers think they know about power. They're about to learn the most expensive lesson of their careers. This morning promised such joy. 6 hours earlier, Benjamin Oliver adjusts his white bow tie in the mirror of his downtown Atlanta office. Georgia's Attorney General has prosecuted corrupt officials, dismantled criminal enterprises, and reformed sentencing guidelines. Today, he just wants to marry the woman he loves. His phone buzzes with congratulations from colleagues across the South, federal judges, Supreme Court clerks, the governor's chief of staff. Benjamin's rise from the son of a Baptist preacher in East Atlanta to the state's top prosecutor represents everything his grandfather fought for during the civil rights movement. Rebecca Oliver-to-be arrives at Swan House Gardens 3 hours before the ceremony. The venue's history weighs heavily, built in 1928 when black families couldn't even walk these grounds, let alone celebrate here. Today feels like victory over a past that tried to limit their dreams. Sarah Mitchell, investigative reporter for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, parks outside the venue. She's covering the wedding for the society pages, but her instincts twitch when she notices Fulton County patrol cars circling the block. 3 times in 30 minutes. Wedding venues don't usually attract police attention unless someone called them. Pastor David Oliver, Benjamin's father, rehearses his ceremony notes. At 67, he married 3 generations of families. He survived Jim Crow, marched with King, and watched his son become the first black attorney general in Georgia history. This wedding represents more than love. It symbolizes progress his generation died fighting for. The Swan House staff finalizes arrangements. 200 guests. Live streaming for extended family across the country. The permit process took 6 months. Unusual delays, mysterious paperwork requests, sudden safety concerns that appeared and disappeared without explanation. Rebecca's law firm had to threaten legal action just to secure the venue. Captain Danny Brooks receives his assignment at 2:47 p.m. Noise complaint, 3130 Slayton Drive. The address means nothing to him. He doesn't know it's Swan House Gardens. I don't know the history. Doesn't care about permits or peaceful celebrations. He sees an opportunity to hit monthly arrest quotas with minimal paperwork. Brooks has worked in Fulton County for 15 years. His record includes 43 complaints of excessive force, 17 allegations of racial profiling, and 0 disciplinary actions. The police union protects him. The district attorney avoids prosecuting him. He operates with impunity because the system protects its own. Benjamin's cousin Marcus sets up his phone to live stream the ceremony. Families in California, New York, and overseas want to witness this moment. The technology that will capture joy will also document something far darker. 40,000 viewers join the stream as wedding music begins. Swan House Gardens transform as guests arrive. Federal judges park beside community organizers. Corporate lawyers chat with nonprofit directors. This gathering represents black excellence in every form, achieved despite systemic barriers, celebrated in spaces that once excluded them entirely. Rebecca walks the aisle in her grandmother's pearls and her great-grandmother's lace. 4 generations of women who survived slavery, segregation, and struggled to see this moment. Her wedding dress costs more than some families earn annually, but every thread represents defiance against limitations others tried to impose. The ceremony begins at 4:15 p.m. Pastor Oliver's voice carries across gardens where his ancestors couldn't walk. Benjamin waits at the altar, surrounded by friends who've shattered glass ceilings and rewritten rules. This moment represents everything America promises when it works correctly. None of them know that 8 officers are driving toward their celebration with assumptions about black gatherings, black wealth, and black joy. The radio crackles with reports of suspicious activity at 3130 Slayton Drive. Radio static cuts through wedding music at 4:52 p.m. Unit 47, respond to noise disturbance, 3130 Slayton Drive. Multiple complaints about gathering. Captain Danny Brooks keys his radio. Copy dispatch, en route with backup. He doesn't question the complaints, doesn't verify the callers' identities, doesn't check if permits exist. He sees an address in Buckhead and assumes trouble. Black people in expensive neighborhoods always mean problems in his experience. 8 officers converge on Swan House Gardens. Brooks leads 3 patrol cars up the circular drive, past perfectly manicured lawns and historical markers celebrating Atlanta's elite heritage. The irony escapes him completely. Benjamin's cousin Marcus holds his phone steady, streaming live to 12,000 viewers. "Y'all are about to see Benjamin marry the love of his life," he whispers into the camera. The comment section floods with heart emojis and congratulations from family worldwide. Pastor Oliver reaches the moment where he asks for objections. "If anyone has reason these 2 should not be joined." Car doors slam in the distance. Heavy boots cross gravel. Radio chatter grows louder. "What's that noise?" Rebecca whispers, still holding Benjamin's hands. Brooks appears first, scanning the crowd like a predator selecting targets. His eyes skip past elderly white donors sipping champagne near the gazebo. They lock onto black faces wearing formal attire, treating success like evidence of criminality. Marcus adjusts his phone angle instinctively. Something feels wrong. 15,000 viewers now watch the stream, numbers climbing rapidly as people sense drama developing. "Ladies and gentlemen," Pastor Oliver attempts to continue, "we are gathered here today. Police, nobody move!" Brooks shouts across the terrace. Wedding guests freeze mid-conversation. Children stop playing. The string quartet's music dies away note by note until only radio static fills the silence. Brooks advances with theatrical authority, his 7 backup officers fanning out like they're surrounding armed criminals instead of wedding guests. Their positioning cuts off exit routes, trapping families between marble columns and manicured hedges. "We received multiple calls about suspicious activity," Brooks announces, his voice carrying false official weight. "Large gathering, possible drug activity, disturbing the peace." Benjamin steps forward slowly, hands visible, voice calm. "Officer, this is a private wedding ceremony. We have all required permits." "I'll determine what you have," Brooks snaps back. He surveys the crowd again, counting black faces, calculating arrest potential. "Everyone stay where you are until we sort this out." The live stream viewer count explodes, 25,000 people watching in real time. Comments pour in. "What is happening? This is insane! Call the news!" Marcus keeps filming, instinctively understanding he's documenting something historically significant. Brooks signals his officers with hand gestures practiced during raids on drug houses and gang territories. They spread out systematically, each taking position near clusters of black guests while ignoring white attendees entirely. "Ma'am, step away from that table," Officer Jenkins orders Rebecca's elderly aunt, who is simply adjusting flower arrangements. "Sir, I need to see identification," Officer Martinez demands from Dr. Thomas Washington, a renowned heart surgeon still holding his champagne glass. Rebecca's hand finds Benjamin's. She feels his muscles tense, recognizing the prosecutor's mind calculating legal violations in real time. He's witnessing constitutional rights trampled by officers who assume their badges grant unlimited authority. 35,000 viewers now watch the stream. Local news alerts start pinging phones as the video spreads across social media platforms. #Wedding Raid begins trending as viewers screenshot and share what they're witnessing. Brooks approaches Benjamin and Rebecca directly, his swagger suggesting he expects immediate compliance and apologies. He sees an uppity couple who needs reminding about their proper place in his version of social hierarchy. "You the ones responsible for this gathering?" he asks, deliberately using language that reduces their wedding to a suspicious assembly. The live stream chat explodes with outrage and disbelief. Viewers tag news outlets, civil rights organizations, and local politicians. What started as a family celebration is becoming a viral documentation of systemic racism in real time. Brooks has no idea he's being watched by 40,000 people, or that he's about to make the biggest mistake of his career. Everyone with melanin, step forward for ID checks. Brooks doesn't hide his racial profiling. He treats prejudice like standard police procedure, expecting compliance from people he considers naturally suspicious. The live stream viewer count hits 55,000. Marcus keeps his phone steady as comments flood in from across the country. Civil rights lawyers start appearing in the chat offering legal advice. Local news stations message him directly for permission to use the footage. "Officer, you can't selectively check identification based on race." Dr. Washington speaks up. The heart surgeon's voice carries decades of authority earned in operating rooms where life and death decisions happen in seconds. "I can check whoever I want," Brooks shoots back. "You got a problem with that, doctor?" The emphasis on doctor drips with mockery. Brooks has perfected the art of making professional titles sound like insults when spoken to black achievers. Officer Martinez approaches the elderly woman sitting near the fountain. Mrs. Eleanor Robinson, 83 years old, granddaughter of slaves, retired principal who educated 2 generations of Atlanta's children. Her pearl necklace catches afternoon sunlight as rough hands demand her identification. "Ma'am, what's in your purse?" Martinez asks, reaching for the antique handbag containing her late husband's Purple Heart medal. "You cannot search my belongings without cause," Mrs. Robinson responds with dignity that makes Brooks's aggression look primitive by comparison. "Probable cause is you being here," Brooks interjects, stepping closer to intimidate the elderly woman. Benjamin's prosecutor training kicks in. He watches constitutional violations accumulate like evidence in a criminal case. Fourth Amendment protections trampled. Equal protection clause ignored. Due process destroyed by officers who mistake badges for immunity from law. The body cameras should be recording everything. Officer Davis's camera faces the ground. Accidentally, he'll claim later. Officer Thompson's device experiences sudden technical difficulties. Only Officer Martinez's camera captures footage, but his angle conveniently misses Brooks's most aggressive moments. Rebecca watches her wedding guests, federal judges, corporate executives, community leaders, treated like suspected criminals. The irony burns. People who've spent lifetimes fighting systemic racism find themselves victims of it at their own celebration. "Young man, empty your pockets," Officer Jenkins commands 16-year-old Marcus Jr., Rebecca's nephew. The teenager was filming on his phone before officers confiscated it, claiming it was evidence of suspicious behavior. Pastor Oliver steps forward protectively. "That's a child. This is completely inappropriate." "Step back, preacher man," Brooks growls. "We're conducting official police business." He emphasizes official, like it grants divine authority to humiliate families celebrating love. Brooks operates from a worldview where black success requires investigation, black joy seems suspicious, and black dignity demands punishment. The live stream chat becomes a real-time legal clinic. Lawyers explain viewers' rights while civil rights organizations coordinate responses. #wedding raid trends nationally as the video spreads across every social platform. Major news outlets request interview permissions while the harassment continues. "Anyone here on probation?" Brooks asks loudly, fishing for arrests among guests he assumes carry criminal records. "Anybody got warrants, outstanding tickets, unpaid child support?" Each question lands like a slap. He's profiling an entire community based on stereotypes that exist only in his prejudiced mind. These are doctors, lawyers, teachers, and community leaders being treated like gang members. Rebecca's grandmother pulls her aside. "Baby girl, this is just like Birmingham. Same hate, different badges." The comparison to 1960s police brutality isn't hyperbole. It's lived experience from someone who survived both eras of systematic oppression. 68,000 viewers now watch the stream. International media picks up the story. The hashtag spreads globally as people witness American racism performed by uniformed officers who expect praise for their prejudice. Brooks notices the phones filming him but doesn't care. He's performed this routine hundreds of times without consequences. The police union will protect him. Internal affairs will clear him. The system always shields its own from accountability. "Ma'am, why are you dressed so fancy?" he asks Rebecca, implying that black women in expensive gowns must be hiding criminal activity. Benjamin's hands clench into fists. 20 years of legal training war against protective instincts toward his bride. He knows any aggressive response will be used to justify escalated violence against his guests. Officer Davis approaches the gift table, eyeing wrapped presents like evidence of illegal activity. What's in these packages? Drugs? Stolen merchandise? The suggestion that wedding gifts contain contraband reveals the depth of his prejudiced assumptions about black celebrations. Mrs. Robinson stands slowly, her arthritis making movement painful. She faces Brooks directly. Officer, I taught civics for 40 years. I know constitutional law. You are violating every oath you swore to protect. Her words carry the weight of lived history. This woman educated governors, senators, and Supreme Court clerks. She's forgotten more about American law than Brooks will ever learn. Civics won't help you if I find something illegal, Brooks retorts, completely missing the irony of threatening a retired educator with false charges. The live stream reaches 75,000 viewers. News helicopters circle overhead. Social media explodes with outrage as the video spreads internationally. Politicians start issuing statements. Civil rights leaders mobilize responses. Benjamin watches his wedding transform into a viral documentation of police misconduct. His prosecutor's mind catalogs evidence while his human heart breaks watching loved ones humiliated by officers who mistake cruelty for authority. Brooks approaches the groom directly, expecting to intimidate just another uppity black man who needs reminding about power structures in Georgia. You the ringleader of this circus? Brooks steps into Benjamin's personal space, using intimidation tactics perfected during thousands of questionable stops. Benjamin maintains perfect composure. 20 years of courtroom experience taught him that power lies in control, not volume. Officer, I'm simply getting married today. Simply? Brooks mocks the word. Nothing simple about your kind gathering like this. What's your name, boy? The racial slur hangs in the air like poison. 80,000 live stream viewers witness the verbal assault in real time. Comments explode with outrage as international media shares the footage across every platform. Benjamin Oliver. He speaks his name with quiet dignity that makes Brooks's aggression appear primitive by comparison. Benjamin what? Street name? Real name? Don't lie to me. Brooks expects stuttering apologies from another intimidated black man. He's performed this routine successfully for 15 years. Project authority, demand submission, make arrests when compliance seems insufficient. Benjamin reaches slowly for his wallet, movements deliberate and visible. Every prosecutor knows sudden motions create excuses for violence. His fingers find the business card nestled behind his driver's license. Here's my identification, officer. Brooks snatches the card impatiently, glances down dismissively, then freezes. His face transforms as the words register. Benjamin Oliver, Attorney General, State of Georgia. The marble terrace goes completely silent. Wedding guests hold their breath. 85,000 viewers watch Brooks's world collapse in real time through live stream footage that will define his career's end. This is fake, Brooks whispers, but his voice carries no conviction. The official seal, embossed lettering, and security features scream authenticity. Benjamin waits. Prosecutors understand that silence forces confession better than questions. He watches Brooks's mind race through implications. Career destruction, criminal charges, federal investigation. I need to verify this, Brooks stammers, pulling out his radio with shaking hands. Dispatch, run a check on Benjamin Oliver, Georgia Attorney General's office. The radio crackles. 30 seconds feel like hours. Wedding guests lean forward. Live stream viewers type frantically. The entire confrontation balances on radio static and database queries. Unit 47, Benjamin Oliver confirmed as current Georgia Attorney General, badge number 0001, direct reports to the governor's office. Brooks's hand drops to his side. The radio nearly slips from his fingers. He stares at the business card like it's evidence of his own professional death warrant. The power dynamic doesn't just shift. It explodes. The uppity black man he planned to arrest outranks every officer in Georgia. The suspicious gathering he's disrupting includes the state's top prosecutor, federal judges, and political power brokers who control police budgets. Rebecca watches her husband transform before her eyes. Benjamin's prosecutorial authority emerges like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. This isn't just a groom defending his wedding, it's Georgia's chief law enforcement officer documenting constitutional violations by subordinate officers. "Now, officer," Benjamin speaks with quiet authority that commands instant attention. "Perhaps we should discuss your reasons for disrupting a legal gathering and selectively targeting citizens based on their race." Brooks realizes his career just ended. Every word he spoke was recorded on live stream. Every constitutional violation was witnessed by 90,000 viewers. Every racist assumption was documented for federal investigators who will inevitably review this footage. The other 7 officers sense their leader's panic. They exchange worried glances, suddenly understanding they've participated in harassing the one person in Georgia with power to prosecute them all. But Brooks makes the worst decision of his career. Instead of apologizing, instead of retreating, instead of acknowledging his massive mistake, his ego chooses destruction over dignity. "I don't care if you're the president," he snarls. "I've got reasonable suspicion, and I'm not leaving until I search every one of these people." The livestream viewer count hits 100,000 as Brooks declares war on Georgia's Attorney General. Brooks doubles down on professional suicide. "Badges don't impress me. I've seen fake IDs before." 120,000 viewers watch a police captain declare war on Georgia's top prosecutor. The live stream explodes across social media as news outlets scramble to cover the story developing in real time. Sarah Mitchell, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution reporter, starts making calls from the parking lot. Her editor patches her through to the newsroom's legal team while she live streams on her own phone, adding a second angle to the viral documentation. Within minutes, investigative machinery activates across Atlanta. Mitchell's contacts in internal affairs, the FBI field office, and the governor's communications team start receiving alerts about the Swan House incident, spreading across social media platforms. "Officer Brooks," Benjamin says with prosecutorial precision, "you are currently violating the 4th, 5th, and 14th Amendments to the Constitution. I strongly advise you to reconsider your position." "Advice noted and rejected," Brooks sneers. "Search everyone. I want to know what they're hiding." The live stream chat becomes a digital war room. Civil rights lawyers coordinate responses while federal investigators monitor the footage from field offices across the South. Screenshots flood Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok as the video spreads internationally. Rebecca's phone buzzes with messages from the governor's office, federal judges, and Supreme Court clerks. The wedding guest list reads like a power structure directory, people who control police budgets, judicial appointments, and federal oversight of local law enforcement. Mitchell receives her first leaked document at 5:23 p.m. A Fulton County insider texts her internal email chains showing Brooks requested maximum backup for suspected gang activity at Swan House Gardens. The language reveals premeditation. This wasn't responding to noise complaints. Detective Marcus Johnson, Brooks's own subordinate, watches the live stream from his patrol car 3 blocks away. His conscience wars with self-preservation as he recognizes his captain destroying their entire department's credibility on national television. Johnson makes a career-defining decision. He forwards Internal Affairs the email chain he received that morning. "Target practice at fancy venue today. Time to remind certain people about respect." The messages reveal coordination between Brooks and 3 other officers. Benjamin's phone receives text messages from the FBI's Atlanta field office requesting immediate contact. Federal investigators monitoring social media recognize civil rights violations occurring in real time and want to coordinate evidence preservation. Mrs. Robinson, the retired principal, speaks loudly enough for the live stream to capture. "I've seen this before, child. Same hatred, different decade, but this time the whole world is watching." Her words resonate across the digital audience. Viewers share stories of their own encounters with police harassment while demanding accountability for officers abusing their authority. The governor's communications director calls Benjamin directly. "Sir, we're monitoring the situation. Federal marshals are en route if you need immediate assistance." Benjamin declines federal intervention, recognizing that local officers digging deeper holes serves long-term justice better than immediate rescue. Every additional minute of misconduct creates stronger cases for prosecution. Officer Martinez approaches Dr. Washington again, demanding to search his medical bag. "What's really in there, Doc? Prescription drugs for street sales?" The accusation against a renowned heart surgeon reveals the depth of racial stereotyping driving police behavior. Martinez assumes black professionals must be criminals regardless of evidence or reputation. Sarah Mitchell receives her second leaked document at 5:31 p.m. A courthouse source forwards her permit applications for Swan House events over the past 3 years. The pattern shows systematic delays and harassment for events hosted by minority organizations, while white social gatherings received immediate approval. The live stream viewer count reaches 150,000. International news outlets request permission to broadcast the footage as the story spreads globally. Civil rights organizations coordinate press releases while politicians issue statements condemning the police behavior. Benjamin watches his wedding guests endure continued harassment, while evidence of systematic discrimination accumulates in real time. His prosecutor's training catalogs every constitutional violation for future criminal charges. Detective Johnson forwards Internal Affairs additional evidence. Financial records showing Brooks's overtime payments spiked during months with high arrest numbers. The correlation between personal income and aggressive policing suggests quota-driven law enforcement targeting minority communities. Rebecca's aunt films her own video, providing third-angle documentation of the harassment. Social media algorithms amplify the content as engagement explodes across all platforms. #WeddingRaid becomes the top trending hashtag globally. Brooks remains oblivious to his viral infamy. He orders officers to search gift bags, examining wedding presents like evidence containers. His paranoia about hidden contraband reveals deep-seated assumptions about black celebrations requiring criminal investigation. The Atlanta FBI field office activates its Civil Rights Division at 5:47 p.m. Special Agent Jennifer Walsh, watching the live stream from her office, recognizes federal crimes occurring in real time and begins coordinating evidence preservation with local authorities. Sarah Mitchell receives her most explosive leak yet. Financial records showing monthly deposits into Brooks's personal account from Millennium Corrections, a private prison company. The amounts correlate directly with his arrest statistics, suggesting financial incentives for mass incarceration. Have you ever been profiled because of your skin color? Share your story below, Marcus whispers into his live stream. The comment section explodes with personal testimonies as viewers relate their own experiences with police harassment. Benjamin's phone buzzes with updates from his office. Assistant Attorneys General monitor the live stream while preparing search warrants for Brooks's financial records, communications, and arrest statistics. The Attorney General's office mobilizes like Brooks just declared war on the rule of law. The retired principal, Mrs. Robinson, addresses Brooks directly. "Young man, I taught constitutional law for 40 years. You're violating every principle this nation claims to represent." Brooks ignores her completely, continuing his search of elderly guests like they're gang members hiding weapons. His disrespect for elders reveals cultural blindness that extends far beyond legal ignorance. Detective Johnson forwards Internal Affairs the most damning evidence. Audio recordings from Brooks's patrol car showing coordination with private prison representatives discussing delivery quotas for incoming inmates. The recording suggests systematic corruption extending throughout the department. 180,000 viewers now watch the live stream as evening news programs interrupt regular broadcasting to cover the story. Politicians from both parties issue statements condemning police misconduct while demanding immediate investigations. Sarah Mitchell confirms her sources and publishes breaking news online. Exclusive: police captain under federal investigation harasses Georgia Attorney General's wedding. The article includes leaked financial records, internal emails, and coordination evidence showing systematic targeting of minority events. The story explodes across news platforms as media outlets scramble to cover police harassment of Georgia's top prosecutor during his own wedding. International correspondents request interviews while civil rights leaders coordinate responses. Brooks continues searching guests, completely unaware that he's become the poster child for police reform movements worldwide. His live-streamed misconduct provides civil rights organizations with perfect documentation of systematic racism in law enforcement. Federal investigators are already preparing search warrants as Brooks digs his professional grave deeper with every passing minute. The Fulton County Police Union mobilizes within an hour. President Tommy Richardson receives alerts about Brooks's viral live stream while dining at his country club. He doesn't watch the footage. He doesn't need to. Protecting officers from accountability is his full-time job. Richardson makes his first call to Police Chief William Hayes. "Chief, we got a situation developing. The media is attacking one of our finest over a routine noise complaint. The union spin machine activates immediately. Richardson contacts friendly journalists, sympathetic politicians, and conservative bloggers to craft a counter-narrative before the truth spreads further. At 6:15 p.m., the union issued an official statement. Captain Brooks responded to legitimate complaints about disturbing the peace. Any allegations of misconduct are premature and politically motivated attacks on law enforcement." The statement ignores video evidence watched by 200,000 people. It dismisses constitutional violations documented in real time. It transforms obvious racism into political persecution of honest cops. Benjamin receives threatening phone calls within 2 hours. Anonymous voices promise consequences for attacking police officers doing their jobs. The callers assume he orchestrated the confrontation rather than simply defending his wedding guests. Rebecca's law firm gets similar calls. Partners who've never handled criminal cases suddenly find themselves targets of harassment for employing the cop-hating attorney general's wife. Richardson coordinates with conservative media outlets to portray Brooks as a victim of racial politics. Talk radio hosts receive talking points emphasizing political correctness gone wrong and attacking heroes in uniform. The union retains Marcus Williams, Atlanta's most aggressive defense attorney, to represent Brooks and his officers. Williams specializes in police misconduct cases using procedural technicalities and character assassination to protect criminal cops. Sarah Mitchell's investigation hits immediate roadblocks. Her courthouse sources report sudden pressure to stop cooperating with media inquiries about police corruption. Judges who previously provided background information now refuse to comment. Detective Johnson, who leaked evidence to Internal Affairs, faces retaliation within hours. His shift supervisor assigns him to desk duty for equipment inventory that will last indefinitely. The message is clear. Whistleblowers face career destruction. Richardson calls Benjamin directly at 7:30 p.m. "General, we can resolve this quietly. Captain Brooks is a decorated officer with 15 years of service. Perhaps we can chalk this up to a misunderstanding." The union president offers informal mediation to avoid formal investigation. He suggests community service, sensitivity training, and public apologies, meaningless gestures that preserve Brooks's career while minimizing accountability. Benjamin declines immediately. "Mr. Richardson, I witnessed felony civil rights violations. This matter requires federal investigation, not union negotiation." The conversation ends with Richardson warning about consequences of declaring war on law enforcement in Georgia. The threat is subtle but clear. Prosecutors who target police face systematic retaliation. Conservative media launches coordinated attacks by 8 p.m. Fox News segments portray Benjamin as an activist prosecutor targeting heroic officers. Talk radio hosts question his loyalty to law enforcement and suggest political motivations for stirring up racial tensions. The character assassination extends to Rebecca. Right-wing bloggers publish her legal career details, suggesting she's part of an anti-police conspiracy targeting white officers. Social media accounts coordinate harassment campaigns against both newlyweds. Union lawyers file emergency motions to block evidence collection. They claim the live stream footage violates officers' privacy rights and demand all recordings be suppressed before investigation begins. Williams, the union's attorney, holds a press conference at 9 p.m. Captain Brooks responded appropriately to credible reports of suspicious activity. Any suggestion of misconduct is false, politically motivated, and deeply unfair to a dedicated public servant. He portrays Brooks as a victim of racial politics rather than a perpetrator of racial harassment. The spin ignores video evidence while suggesting that accountability equals persecution. Federal Judge Patricia Adams, who attended the wedding, receives threatening mail the next morning. Envelopes contain warnings about consequences for supporting cop killers and race baiters who attack police. Through his attorney, Brooks maintains his innocence while claiming vindication. Captain Brooks followed standard procedures for investigating suspicious gatherings. He regrets any misunderstanding but stands by his professional judgment and constitutional authority. The statement transforms obvious misconduct into misunderstanding. while suggesting Brooks acted appropriately despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. Richardson coordinates pressure campaigns targeting Benjamin's political supporters. Union-affiliated political action committees threaten to withdraw support from politicians who condemn Brooks's behavior. Local police departments across Georgia receive union directives to stand with Captain Brooks against political attacks on law enforcement. The message creates a us versus them mentality that treats accountability as betrayal. Sarah Mitchell faces intimidation at her apartment building. Security cameras capture unknown individuals photographing her car, documenting her routine, and following her to work. The harassment is designed to silence investigative reporting. The union's legal strategy focuses on discrediting witnesses rather than defending Brooks's actions. Williams files motions questioning the live stream's authenticity, challenging witness credibility, and suggesting the entire incident was staged for political gain. Richardson appears on conservative news programs portraying Brooks as a hero under attack. He claims the incident represents warfare against police officers by radical prosecutors who hate law enforcement. Benjamin's security detail receives upgrade recommendations from the governor's office. Threats against the Attorney General increase as union-coordinated media campaigns portray him as an enemy of public safety. The union's response reveals systematic corruption extending far beyond Brooks's misconduct. Their coordinated retaliation demonstrates institutional protection of criminal behavior disguised as officer loyalty. But federal investigators are already preparing a response that will shatter the union's protective wall around corrupt officers. The testimonies begin arriving within 24 hours. Sarah Mitchell's investigation uncovers a pattern of harassment spanning 5 years and 23 minority-owned venues across Fulton County. Maria Santos, owner of Quinceañera Palace, comes forward first. Captain Brooks shut down my daughter's 15th birthday party, said we were too loud for the neighborhood. White kids across the street had parties every weekend, never got one visit. Her voice breaks during the recorded interview. The dream celebration became a nightmare of police harassment and community humiliation. Dr. James Patterson, pastor of New Hope Baptist Church, provides documentation of systematic targeting. 3 wedding receptions, 2 funeral repasts, 4 community fundraisers. Brooks found violations every single time. White churches in the same district, 0 police visits. 12-year-old Marcus Thompson testifies with his mother present. The child witnessed Brooks's raid on his cousin's graduation party 6 months earlier. The policeman made my grandma cry. She just wanted to celebrate cousin graduating college. His testimony devastates everyone present. Children shouldn't learn about police harassment before they learn multiplication tables. The psychological trauma extends across generations. Rebecca's grandmother describes the emotional impact. Baby girl, I survived Birmingham police dogs. I thought my great-grandchildren would live in better times. This wedding showed me that some things never change. Her words carry the weight of lived history. A woman who endured civil rights-era violence watching her family experience similar harassment 7 decades later. Benjamin sits in his office reviewing victim statements, questioning everything he believed about justice in Georgia. 20 years prosecuting criminals, implementing reforms, building trust with communities, all threatened by officers who mock the law they swore to protect. The financial cost becomes clear through records. Minority-owned venues lose an average of $15,000 per police intervention through canceled events, legal fees, and reputation damage. Starlight Reception Hall closed permanently after Brooks's repeated raids. Owner Thomas Johnson invested his life savings in the venue, only to watch police harassment drive away customers until bankruptcy became inevitable. Worked 30 years as a mechanic, saved every penny to open that hall, Johnson explains through tears. Captain Brooks destroyed my family's future because he decided black folks don't deserve nice things. Children's drawings reveal lasting psychological impact. 8-year-old Destiny Williams drew police officers as monsters after witnessing Brooks terrorize her aunt's baby shower. The image captures trauma requiring years of therapy. Community leaders describe the broader chilling effect on black celebrations. Families now avoid public venues, fearing police harassment will ruin milestone moments. Weddings move to private homes. Graduations become small family gatherings. We're teaching our children to hide their success, explains Dr. Angela Moore, president of the Atlanta Black Professional Association. Celebrating achievements publicly invites police retaliation. That's not freedom, that's fear-based existence. Benjamin realizes Brooks's actions represent more than individual misconduct. They demonstrate institutional racism designed to keep minority communities subordinate through constant intimidation and economic pressure. Have you ever been afraid to celebrate your achievements because of who you are? This pattern of harassment happens everywhere, not just Georgia. Then Sarah Mitchell receives the phone call that changes everything. A federal prosecutor wants to meet immediately about corruption reaching the highest levels of Georgia law enforcement. Federal Special Agent Jennifer Walsh calls Sarah Mitchell at 7:30 a.m. the morning after the wedding. "Miss Mitchell, we need to meet. The Bureau has been monitoring Captain Brooks for 18 months as part of a broader civil rights investigation." The revelation changes everything. Brooks isn't just a rogue officer. He's a target in an ongoing federal probe into systematic corruption throughout Georgia law enforcement. Walsh explains the scope during their coffee shop meeting. Operation Clean Badge involves 12 counties, 47 officers, and extensive financial surveillance. Your wedding footage provided the missing piece we needed. The FBI has been building cases against corrupt officers using federal racketeering statutes typically reserved for organized crime. Brooks's live-streamed misconduct gives prosecutors the smoking gun evidence they've been seeking. Benjamin receives official notification from the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division. Federal prosecutors want to coordinate with his office to ensure state and federal charges complement rather than conflict with each other. Community organizations mobilize rapidly. The NAACP, Southern Poverty Law Center, and local civil rights groups coordinate press conferences demanding accountability. Social media campaigns amplify victim testimonies while pressuring politicians to support reform. Rebecca's law firm receives calls from constitutional lawyers across the country offering pro bono assistance. Major civil rights organizations recognize the case's potential to establish precedent for police accountability nationwide. Detective Johnson, the whistleblower officer, receives protection from federal marshals after his colleagues discover his cooperation with internal affairs. His leaked evidence becomes crucial to federal prosecution strategy. Walsh reveals the extent of federal surveillance. "We've been monitoring Brooks's communications for months. Wiretaps captured conversations with private prison representatives discussing delivery quotas and monthly payment schedules." The private prison connection transforms local police misconduct into federal racketeering charges. Brooks wasn't just harassing minorities. He was trafficking human beings into corporate-owned detention facilities for profit. Benjamin's office coordinates with federal investigators to preserve evidence while building complementary state cases. The partnership between local prosecutors and federal agents creates an unprecedented accountability framework. Community support rallies behind the victims. Churches organize prayer vigils. Business organizations pledge financial assistance for venues damaged by police harassment. Citizens demand city council action. Social media campaigns reach international audiences as civil rights organizations coordinate global pressure. #Justice for Benjamin trends alongside #Wedding Raid as the story becomes a symbol of systematic racism in American policing. The governor's office announces a special commission to review police accountability statewide. Political pressure mounts as elected officials distance themselves from officers who've become national symbols of corruption. Walsh shares federal strategy. "We're not just prosecuting individual officers, we're dismantling the entire network of corruption that enables systematic civil rights violations across the South." The federal investigation extends far beyond Brooks to include judges who ignored complaints, prosecutors who refused cases, and politicians who protected corrupt officers from accountability. Benjamin realizes his wedding harassment became a catalyst for justice reform, extending across multiple states. Federal resources combined with community activism create momentum for systematic change. Federal grand jury subpoenas are being prepared as the investigation expands to expose corruption reaching the highest levels of Georgia's justice system. The financial records arrive at 9:47 a.m., delivered by federal investigators to Benjamin's office. Agent Walsh spreads bank statements across his conference table like evidence in a murder trial. Captain Brooks received $47,000 in additional income last year, Walsh explains, pointing to monthly deposits. Every payment correlates directly to arrest numbers at minority-owned venues. The paper trail reveals systematic human trafficking disguised as community policing. Brooks wasn't just harassing black families. He was selling human beings to private prison corporations for profit. Millennium Corrections, Georgia's largest private prison company, paid Brooks $200 per arrest delivered to their facilities. The quota system incentivized him to target minority celebrations because large gatherings guaranteed multiple arrests and maximum payments. Benjamin studies the financial evidence with prosecutorial precision. This transforms harassment into racketeering under federal law. Brooks operated a criminal enterprise using police authority. Walsh nods grimly. It gets worse. Brooks recruited 12 other officers into the scheme. They divided Fulton County into territories like drug dealers claiming turf for profit. Internal communications seized through federal warrants reveal the depth of corruption. Email chains discuss hunting grounds and fresh meat when referring to minority community events requiring police response. Brooks's personal bank account shows deposits totaling $847,000 over 5 years. His salary couldn't support the luxury car, boat, and vacation home he purchased through systematic civil rights violations. The wedding raid was supposed to generate 15 arrests, Walsh explains, showing intercepted text messages. Private prison representatives promised bonus payments for large-scale deliveries during summer months. Federal wiretaps captured Brooks coordinating with Millennium Corrections executives 3 days before Benjamin's wedding. They discussed disrupting the celebration to secure inventory for their facilities. The recordings reveal corporate executives directing police operations like plantation overseers commanding slave catchers. Private prisons needed bodies to maintain federal contracts, so they purchased arrests from corrupt officers. Benjamin's wedding guests weren't targeted because of noise complaints. They were selected as merchandise for corporate profit margins, human trafficking with badges and legal authority. Walsh shares the most damning evidence. Brooks received performance bonuses based on demographic quotas, higher payments for black arrests versus white arrests. The racism was literally profitable. Financial records from other counties reveal the scheme's statewide scope. 47 officers across Georgia participated in systematic trafficking of minority citizens to private detention facilities. The economic incentives explain Brooks's behavior patterns perfectly. His harassment of minority venues wasn't motivated by racial hatred alone. It was a business model generating substantial personal income. Every wedding, graduation, and birthday party became a profit opportunity, Walsh continues. Brooks treated celebrations like inventory collection for his corporate partners. Federal investigators tracked money flowing from private prison corporations through shell companies into officers' personal accounts. The laundering scheme involved multiple banks and fake consulting contracts. Benjamin realizes the scope extends beyond individual corruption to corporate police partnerships designed to generate profits through mass incarceration of innocent citizens. The evidence reveals systematic destruction of constitutional rights for financial gain. Police officers became bounty hunters collecting human beings for corporate customers who profited from incarceration. "We're not prosecuting police misconduct anymore," Benjamin tells his staff. "We're prosecuting human trafficking, racketeering, and conspiracy under federal organized crime statutes." Federal prosecutors prepare RICO charges typically reserved for mafia organizations. Brooks's police corruption operates identically to organized crime syndicates, territorial control, systematic violence, and profit through illegal enterprises. The financial evidence transforms a wedding harassment case into federal prosecution of law enforcement racketeering. Brooks's live-streamed misconduct exposed a criminal organization hiding behind police badges. Federal grand jury indictments are sealed and ready as FBI agents prepare coordinated arrests of 47 officers across Georgia. The Atlanta City Council chambers overflow with 300 citizens demanding accountability. The emergency session called for 10 a.m. sharp. Brooks sits at the witness table, flanked by union lawyers who look increasingly desperate. Council Chair Janet Wilson gives the hearing to order. "Captain Brooks, you are here to address allegations of misconduct during your disruption of a private wedding celebration. Local news cameras capture every moment. National media fills the back rows. The live stream reaches 400,000 viewers as Brooks faces public interrogation for his viral misconduct. Benjamin enters the chambers wearing prosecutor authority-like armor. He's not here as a victim. He's here as Georgia's top law enforcement officer presenting evidence against a criminal enterprise masquerading as police work. "State your name for the record," Wilson commands. "Captain Daniel Brooks, 15 years, Fulton County Police Department." His voice wavers despite attempts at defiance. Wilson displays laptop screens showing the wedding harassment footage. "Captain Brooks, explain why you targeted only black guests while ignoring white attendees at this legal celebration." Brooks's union attorney whispers frantically before he responds. "Councilwoman, I followed standard procedure responding to legitimate noise complaints from concerned citizens." "What citizens?" Wilson presses. "We have no record of any complaints filed before your arrival." The chamber erupts as community members recognize the obvious lie. Brooks's fabricated justification collapses under basic scrutiny. Benjamin steps forward with federal evidence. "Councilwoman Wilson, may I present financial records showing Captain Brooks received payments from private prison corporations based on arrest quotas?" Brooks's face drains of color as bank statements project onto chamber screens. 400,000 live stream viewers witness the money trail connecting police harassment to corporate profit margins. These records show $47,000 in additional income correlating directly to arrests at minority-owned venues. Benjamin continues. "Captain Brooks operated a criminal enterprise trafficking human beings for corporate profit." Wilson examines the evidence with growing outrage. "Captain Brooks, how do you explain these payments?" Brooks's attorney objects frantically. "Councilwoman, these allegations are premature pending full investigation." Federal agents enter the chamber at 10:47 a.m. Agent Walsh approaches Brooks with handcuffs ready. "Daniel Brooks, you are under arrest for conspiracy, racketeering, and civil rights violations under federal law." The chamber explodes as handcuffs click around Brooks's wrists. 450,000 viewers watch live as the police captain who terrorized a wedding gets arrested during his own accountability hearing. "You have the right to remain silent." Walsh continues the Miranda warning. Brooks's union lawyer protests futilely as federal agents escort his client toward prosecution and prison. Council members sit stunned as Brooks disappears through chamber doors in handcuffs. The same man who demanded ID from wedding guests now faces federal prosecution for human trafficking. Benjamin addresses the chamber with quiet authority. "Justice doesn't require badges or titles. It requires courage to hold power accountable regardless of who wields it." The audience erupts in sustained applause as community members witness systematic corruption finally facing consequences. The live stream chat floods with celebration as viewers recognize justice being served in real time. Wilson gavels the chamber to order. This council will now vote on emergency police reform measures to prevent future misconduct. The vote passes unanimously as 47 arrest warrants execute simultaneously across Georgia, dismantling the largest police corruption network in state history. 6 months later, Benjamin and Rebecca renew their vows at Swan House Gardens, the same marble terrace, the same fountain music. But everything has changed. Captain Brooks serves 18 months in federal prison, the same private facility where he sent innocent victims. 47 officers across Georgia face similar sentences as Operation Clean Badge dismantles systematic corruption. The Georgia Police Accountability Act passes with bipartisan support. Body cameras have become mandatory. Financial disclosure requirements expose profit-driven policing. Community oversight boards gain real authority. Detective Johnson, the whistleblower, receives promotion to Internal Affairs Commander. His courage to expose corruption transforms him from pariah to hero within reformed law enforcement. Sarah Mitchell wins the Pulitzer Prize for investigative reporting. Her series on police-prison partnerships sparks federal investigations in 12 states, exposing nationwide trafficking schemes. Mrs. Robinson, the retired principal who faced Brooks's aggression, speaks at the ceremony. "Some badges protect, others we had to protect ourselves from. Today, we know the difference." Benjamin's second wedding celebrates more than love. It commemorates justice prevailing over systematic oppression. The live stream reaches 2 million viewers as families worldwide witness accountability triumphing. The gift table holds thank you letters from 43 minority-owned venues no longer facing police harassment. Their celebrations happen without fear because corruption no longer wears badges in Georgia. Justice isn't a spectator sport. Like this video if you believe accountability applies to everyone. Subscribe for more stories where truth defeats power. And tell us, what would you do if badges were used against you instead of for you? Some badges protect. Today, we protected ourselves.
The story you heard today wasn't cleaned up. It was told exactly as it happened. At Black Voices Uncut, we believe that's the only way truth can live. If you felt something, hit like, comment, and your reaction, and subscribe. Every week, we bring you voices that refuse to be silenced.